With that said, I'm going to introduce Stellan. He is an activist scholar at UMass. He is currently involved in the Plowshare movement, and he is running the Resistance Studies program at UMass. So with that said, Stellan, welcome.
I would like to begin with a moment of silence. We live in a time of a fundamental crisis of the systems of our economy, our politics, and our culture. We see it in the climate that is collapsing in front of us, how we are degrading the nature, how the global inequalities between people are just increasing for every year, how the life and the dignity of all people are neglected, how colonialism are continuing and militarism increasing. We have a challenge, a fundamental challenge to us all to embody and renew the world, society, and humanity. And the answer is not individual bravery, technical innovation, government actions, or corporate solutions, or, for that matter, institutional religion. All of that is somewhat needed, yes, but all of these things will only move if we do. So I'm convinced, and this is the right place to say it, that the answer is community. But it's not just any community. It is communities of three things: communities of love, resistance, and constructive work. It's like the indigenous peoples are already doing it. It's like how the landless workers in Brazil are already doing it. We need, firstly, to love every living being. People of all kinds. Also our opponents. We might not feel the love to all, but we have to act in loving care. And that counts also for our four-legged relatives who lives and roams in the forests, our swimming and flying relatives, and the tree and plant people. We're not surrounded by environment. We are nature. Without that love, our community will not work. But if our communities of love will also not be really love in the responsible, caring way of everyone, every living being, if we're not resisting. We need to resist the systems of dominance, exploitation, and violence that are neglecting the rights and dignities of all living beings. And we need to build up the new societies through constructive work. We need to recreate what it means to have families, to have education, health, agriculture, politics, trade. Again, we need to build up societies of diversity for all, including dignity of all genders, sexual orientations, races and identities, religions, ages and abilities. Our communities of love, resistance and construction in diversity will be the seeds, will be the transformative force of that new humanity, of that new societies. Our communities of love, resistance and construction will be the yes and the no that will be strong enough to transform our world. Nothing less is needed of us. Don't be fooled. It's actually exactly this which is needed. This is the only answer. But we're not alone in this big challenge. We can be guided, we can be inspired by those that are going ahead of us, those that live in the frontline communities. And that's where I take inspiration from the indigenous peoples and the landless workers in Brazil. So I'll give you two snapshots. I visited White Earth in Minnesota, the reservation where the Anishinaabe lives. After 400 years of colonization, the threat that is looming over them now is a new pipeline. Again, in the fossil industrial economy we live in. They answer with love, resistance, and the building of community, as they have done before. They're building solar panels to heat their waters. They're recovering the wild rice harvesting. They're recreating hemp farms. And they are building already now camps for the resistance against the Line 3 that is being planned. And they are creating communities of recovering the indigenous culture and traditions, where they take care of kids from broken indigenous families. Earlier this spring, I was visiting the landless workers in Brazil, where they have done over 2,000 land occupations since the early 80s, where 1.5 million people are active, and where they are creating what they call the new Brazil. A very wanted struggle in a situation where they have a fascist regime today under Bolsonaro. I was visiting the Acampamento Mariel, named after a murdered black politician in a local area. In this camp of occupation of land, where they are resisting the unjust land distribution in Brazil, among landless, poor people in shacks of 1,000 families, you find a soccer field for the kids, a Saturday school, a water system, communal gardens, and in a broken house, in one little room, you find their health clinic, where they recover traditional medicine, where they take care of each other with the resources they have. The camp where they create new political decision bodies with a quotation for 50% women and men in all decision positions, they are occupying and resisting the violence of the land distribution. But they're also building a community of care, of loving care of each other, with the LGBT support group, with work collectives where people share the work in community. These are the guiding, inspiring communities in the front line of the struggle that we all are facing. They are the ones that can show us the way forward. And Agape here is a community that is taking the guidance of these frontline communities. As such, it is embodying the love and the resistance and the construction that we need. Communities of love, passionate energy, daily work, of both the yes and the no, of both creating what we need instead of the dominant systems, but also the resistance against what is still denying dignity in life. Therefore, Agape is an inspiration to us all that are gathering here. Therefore, Agape is one of those seeds, transformative forces for the new humanity and a possible future. Thank you.